Hello, everyone. Welcome here to join us for the panel discussion on the 3 postgraduate programs that we have in film and television studies. I'm just going to ask all the panelists to introduce themselves, then we will give you a short overviews of the programs, and then we'll move to some questions. I hope you'll have a good hour with us, and that you've come with some questions that you have to ask, that you're burning to ask us. My name is Lizelle Bischoff. I am the convener of the MSc in Film Curation, and I will be chairing the panel today. I'm just going to go across the panelists as they appear on my screen, just for a short introduction, and to also say which program you're affiliated to. David, please.
Hello everyone. So my name's David, my surname's Martin Jones. I'm the convener of the MLit in Film and Television Studies.
Thank you, David. Azadeh.
Hello, everyone. My name is Azadeh Emadi. I'm the convener of MSc in Filmmaking and Media Arts.
Next, I've got Sam, please. I think Sam might have a little bit of a problem with his connection, but I know that Sam is representing the MLit in television studies. Sorry. Okay, we're getting a little bit of a delay there, but I'm going to move on, and hopefully we can sort out Sam's connection problems. So next I've got Jianjun.
Hello, everyone. I'm a filmmaking student.
Thank you. So Jianjun is on the MSc in Filmmaking and Media Arts. And then next I've got Yiyan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yiyan Dong, and I'm a postgraduate student from the MLit Film and TV Studies. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And finally, Kyrene. Just unmute yourself, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kyrene Stur, and I'm on the MSc in Film Curation course.
Okay, so next I've asked the conveners to all just give you a brief outline of their programs with a few highlights, and then we'll move on to questions. So first of all, I'm asking David to talk to us about the MLit. Thank you, David.
Hi again, everyone. So my name is David Martin Jones, as I said, and I'm the convener of the MLit in Film and Television Studies for the rest of this year. Next year will be a colleague of mine called Dr. Ian Good, and I'm really delighted as well that we've got Yiyan and Sam in the StreamYard as well, students who are currently studying with us. Now, Lizelle asked me to talk to several different things, but to keep it to 5 minutes, so I'm going to try and do all those things, but I tend to go on a bit, so it might be a minute more than 5. Here we go. So, what should you expect? What should you expect from the MLit at Glasgow, and what is unique about what we offer? Now, this is a course which is rather unique because, as you can tell from the name, it provides tuition on both film and television, and that's not the case for all MLits around the UK. This means that you might study, for example, a Bollywood film like Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara alongside a Chinese TV show like Ode to Joy, or again, a Ken Loach film shot in Scotland, maybe even shot in Glasgow, near where you would live, alongside, say, the US television show Homeland. And these are just some examples. And what I'm trying to get at there is that students seem to appreciate this course because there's these two elements working alongside each other. Some people are really enthused by film, and some people love television. And the variety in the curriculum is there because we try to introduce you to a broad range of the ideas that have shaped the field of film and television studies. So you'll focus on several of the most advanced topics in the area, and this is because the staff who teach you shape their teaching around their most up-to-date research. For example, you might look at television and surveillance, or television in the environment, or television and celebrity, or again, the global nature of the film industry, or topics that cross with other industries like film and the tourist industry, or again, how to do advanced research using the video essay format. And for this reason, we think it's a good course because whether you're just encountering film and TV for the first time, or whether you're quite advanced in that discipline, looking to develop your independent thinking further, it's got something for everyone. So that's what's to expect in terms of course content. There's lots of other things to expect, like a friendly and sociable international cohort, approachable teachers, the lively city of Glasgow. We've also got what Glasgow's got, which is very unique, is we have the Screen conference every year, and we have the Screen seminars throughout the year. So Screen is a big journal. It's over 60 years old now. It's one of the biggest in the field, and that's at Glasgow. And we have the Screen conference every first weekend in July, I think, something like that, or very end of June every year. So you get to see all these international scholars who come. And then during the year, we have some papers given by our own colleagues or visiting colleagues, which you can also attend. So it's quite a lot going on in the research environment. Okay, how is the course assessed was something that I was asked to talk about. There are several different types of assessment on this course. It's true that mostly you will write essays, and there'll be essays of around 1,500 to 3,000 words in length. But you'll also participate in group work that is assessed, which includes designing and delivering a group presentation on a research topic of your choosing. And this is accompanied by another form of assessment, a reflection on your contribution to the group work. You might also decide to undertake a video essay for credits, which is an option which we offer for some of the assessments and also for the dissertation as well. We've also tailored some of the assessments which come later on in the course to prepare you for the dissertation, because the dissertation is a large project to do, and we try to give you a good launch towards it. So your wow, a lot going on here. So your dissertation comes at the end of the course, and in the summer months, and this is on a topic of your choice, and you work on this with a dedicated supervisor. But in advance of that, you're also given guidance in the classroom on how to write a research proposal and how to write a literature review. These activities are then the assessments which you submit before your dissertation. These are informed by a semester of classes introducing different research methods, such as how to do historical work, how to do audience work, how to do textual analysis, and that includes some very nice trips to National Library of Scotland Museum Moving Image Archive, NLSMIA. So we do a lovely day trip there and get to look around the archive and talk to one of the archivists. But also to Film City Glasgow, which is a working film production unit in Glasgow. And you get to go in and go behind the scenes and again hear a talk from the manager of Film City Glasgow, in fact. To give you a sense of some of the dissertation topics that people have chosen in recent years, I pulled out a few from my files. I thought these might sound interesting to you. A lot of people look at quite broad topics like contemporary horror films or wildlife documentary or these kinds of ideas, but there's also much more sort of specific topics. Very popular is the representation of people of color in US television shows, contemporary shows. Some people like to write about films or TV shows about people of one culture who live in a different culture, for example, diasporic citizens. And then people do all kinds of other things like small cinemas in the globe. It could be a small cinema like Scotland, or it could be, well, you know, Uruguay, South Korea, Tibet, you name it. People do other specific things like fascinating work on Chinese locked door mystery comedy movies, for example. That would be a great topic to do. Some people look at depictions of homosexuality in television shows in different countries. Some choose a director like the Indian director Amir Khan, and so on. I've been also asked to talk about what support is in place. I think I've got a couple of minutes left. There's all kinds of support that the university offers, and you can find that on the university's web pages, especially for studying with disability. But we give you mostly the intellectual support. But one area of crossover there is student learning development, SLD, student learning development. And this is a different part of the university to film and television studies. But what we do is we invite them to come along and give you lectures. And they can help with things like how to get your head around writing a research question as you're heading towards your dissertation, or how to write a literature review, something that many people haven't done before. It's not as difficult as one might think, but yeah, it's really good to get that guidance. We also bring along experts from the library to come along and help you understand how to use the library catalogue, both in its online form and its physical collections. How would you prepare to come and do the MLit? What could you do between now and then? I've been thinking about that quite a lot. And one thing you could do is go and read everything there is to read about the subject that you're really interested in. That would be an obvious thing to do. But I think the thing that would really help you, even more than that, would be to work on your powers of independent critical thinking. I think that's really important. So you could do an exercise a bit like this. You choose a film or a TV show that you really love and sort of analyze it and think about its strengths and weaknesses. Think about that in terms of the narrative, the plot, the characters, and that kind of thing, that level, but also the aesthetics. How's this made? What am I seeing when the images move? What about the mise en scène? What about these costumes? What are they telling me? So think about the aesthetic levels. You can also think about genre, and you can think also about how the film or TV show might reflect the contemporary context it's in. Why this show now? What is it speaking to that we're all interested in? And if you like that kind of exercise, you could think of it as like writing a film or TV review. And if you wanted, you could write it down. But what you could also do is you could practice how you would enunciate verbally what you think the strengths and weaknesses are of this show, to help you practice the thing you'll do most of the time when you're studying here, which is to engage with your peers verbally and develop your thinking that way. So that's what I think would be a good exercise to try and help you prepare for your classroom. And I think that's something you could do whether you've had a huge amount of experience in film and TV studies or none at all. Okay, if you would like, I can also mention some of the courses available from the program, but mainly it's the history of film and TV as a core, and research methods and dissertation preparation as a core course. Then we have advanced topics in TV and advanced topics in films, and I've mentioned some of those. And then we also have some courses which are broader, like festivals, which covers film festivals or other kind of festivals. Making Time, which looks about how different media and art forms engage temporally, and experimental art and media. There are some other courses you can take across the college, but that's very unusual nowadays because people tend to find that what we've got in the core plus one of these options is enough to give you a very focused MLIT experience. And I'll end there. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. After all these years of being online, we still forget to unmute ourselves. Apologies for that. So I was just thanking David for this quite comprehensive overview and also pretty much managing to stick with the time as well. So thank you, David. Next, I will ask Azadeh to talk to us about the MSc in Filmmaking and Media Arts. Thank you, Azadeh.
Thank you very much, Lizelle. Hello, everyone. As I mentioned, my name is Azadeh Emadi. I'm the convener of MSc Filmmaking and Media Arts. I'm going to, hopefully within these 5 minutes, give you an overall view of the program, but also make sure to address what are the unique elements in this program. So MSc Filmmaking is about finding your unique voice as a filmmaker and dedicating really a full year to develop a comprehensive short film or media art that reflects your ability to engage with filmmaking techniques in critical and innovative way. Our program focuses on experimental filmmaking and artist moving image, which means experimentation and critical exploration is at the center of your study and your filmmaking practice. You will be working on your individual film project, and perhaps that's one of the very unique aspects of this program because you will have to develop actually quite a bit of skills in various aspects of filmmaking, whether if it's developing a concept and then executing that concept into film format, gathering your own crew, do the editing, working with the camera and lighting. In this program, we are using filmmaking as a form of research, and we tend to bring theoretical concepts and investigation with filmmaking practice. Doing this will allow you to develop various skills in both filmmaking practice, but also in terms of critical thinking, creative making, exploration, and finding unique ideas. To support you in this journey, you will have master classes. So you will be receiving support both in terms of theoretical study as well as your practical skills. So there will be master classes delivered for you by external expert filmmakers, but we will also have external lecturers coming and giving you seminars. We are partners with external organizations. We work with them, we invite them. Some of them, for example, come and introduce them to you. We encourage you to go and look at the various exhibition and film screening, and Glasgow is a fantastic place for that. It's such a lovely place and lively place for art making, particularly filmmaking, with various exhibitions and film festivals. You will also have seminars and one-to-one tutorials with your lecturer. So the support given to you is both in terms of theory as well as practice, but primarily practice will drive your theoretical understanding and study as well. So to give you a little bit of understanding of the program structure, you will have 2 core courses, Practical Workshop 1 and Practical Workshop 2. And then you will have another theoretical course, which is to support you with your practice. And then you have dissertation over the summer. For your dissertation, you will be working with your on your extended film, which is up to 20 minutes. So in terms of assessment, you will have various forms of assessments, from writing an essay to making short experimental films, as well as developing your blog, where the blog will become almost your portfolio. So these will help you with your basically your work and after your graduation. And also you will have presentation, you will have group presentation, and you will, the very final, the key thing is your 20 minutes short film, which is supported by a short essay or a critical reflection on your practice. This is still a theoretical essay, but very much driven by your practice. The key thing about our program is that we use practice as a form of research and critical investigation. And that's the thing that makes our program quite unique from other programs. We often try to have one field trip with class and students, sometime to, depending on the exhibitions that are happening in the city. We might go to the Center for Contemporary Art in Glasgow or various other places. The idea is that we take you there, we'll look at an art together, and then we discuss various aspects of the art. Really, the idea is that this 1 year, you will test out many different things and you will be exposed to diverse formats of artist moving making, as well as filmmaking practices. So any support available? Well, obviously, your main support will be your lecturer. We will be there to help you and support you throughout the way. But same as what David mentioned, we have SLD, we have induction for the library, and we also have various support, like career support, to think about your future once you finish the program. So we are looking forward to have you here. And in terms of you preparing for the next year, from now till next year, September, I would say the best thing is to really think about the type of films you really enjoy, but try to understand and maybe question, what do you really enjoy about these films? What are that makes you interested in these films and excited about these films? Also think about if you were to invest 1 year making a film about a topic, what could that topic be? And how can you really think about finding a unique topic that is a reflection of yourself, but also the world that you're living in? So we look forward to seeing you.
Thank you very much, Azadeh. So finally, I will give you a few highlights and a short overview of the MSc in Film Curation. which is a really nice complement to my colleagues' programs. I was just thinking as they were talking that with the MLit, we have an approach that is very simplistically put about writing about film, thinking about film in theoretical, analytical, and intellectual ways. And then Azadeh's program that is about the filmmaking aspect. And so we have the writing about film, we have the making of films, and then the third part is actually bringing these products to audiences and engaging with audiences, and putting film on in the public space, which is the role of curators, is an aspect of film studies that has really only been developing, is a younger field than filmmaking, and also the more traditional academic study of film studies. But it is nonetheless a really important part of film and of film studies, and because that engagement with audiences is really the ultimate goal that filmmakers have with putting their products into the public space. So this program is really going to teach you and train you of how you engage with audiences and how you bring films to audiences. And this is anything from film festivals to in cinemas, of course, theatrical releases, also doing sort of special events in galleries, in artists moving image, and thinking about creative ways to bring films to audiences, obviously also not forgetting the digital space and increasing kind of online possibilities to watch films. So we will look at film in the public space in a broad context. And I think what makes the program unique as well is that it is very much focused on teaching you practical skills. So talking about the logistics and practicalities of how you negotiate screening rights with the rights holders and the owners of the films, to selecting venues, to thinking about marketing. But we also look at film curation from a historical and a more theoretical point of view as well. So starting with the concept of curation as something that really developed in the art world. So we understand that mostly in terms of gallery exhibitions with visual art is sort of the most common association with the concept of curation. But here we are, of course, talking about putting film specifically in the public space. But we'll look at the historical trajectory of how the concept of curation developed out of the art world and how it is now being applied to film in the public space. So the outcome of this would be that we see that our students end up in a range of different jobs. It is not limited to being a curator for a film festival or a cinema, for example, but there are also possibilities to work in archives, to work in film education, and of course also to continue with further academic studies. So it is quite a sort of broad degree that allow access to different areas of working within different areas of the film industry. And we also know that our students come from a variety of different backgrounds, because there aren't really sort of a film curation undergraduate degree that students come with to this program, but students come from backgrounds sometimes with literature, of obviously film studies. So if you are unsure about whether your background would enable you to manage the film curation degree, please get in touch with us, because as I said, often our students don't follow a conventional route into studying film curation. So as I said, we will look at it from a practical, theoretical and historical point of view, the concept of film curation. We have the first semester core course is called Materials of Film Curation. So that program, that course really looks at the materiality of film, and we've got some exciting events usually and sessions planned as part of that course. For example, having a live musical accompaniment to an old silent film. So that will happen. That happens every year in the cinema in our department. We also still have a 35mm projector, which of course now these projectors and watching film from print is becoming more rare. So this is also a really great opportunity to engage with the history of film by actually seeing how a 35mm film would run through a projector and how it looks on screen, which is something that a lot of our students joining the program are not necessarily familiar with, because we do not watch films anymore unless it's for special events on 35mm prints. it's much more common to watch it now digitally. So it will introduce you to the sort of materiality and the material aspects of film. Then we also, the second semester core course, look at it more from a practical point of view. So the second semester core course is called Practices of Film Curation. So that course takes you through basically designing your own film festival or other substantial kind of screening event. It could be a retrospective. So you work through the semester with the tutor in thinking about all the aspects that you would need to put on your own public film event. For example, a film festival. You would be thinking about the films you're going to screen, what events you want as part of that, so speakers, other complementary events, performances, the venues you want to use, how you're going, what is your target audience, how are you going to engage them, so publicity, marketing. Students design their own posters for their festivals, they make trailers, they sometimes even design sort of simple websites to promote the event, thinking about budgeting and fundraising as well, and also evaluation of your event afterwards. So it's a really practical orientated course that results in you writing then a 5,000 word proposal on a film festival. We have many guest speakers from all over the world across both core courses. You'll hear sometimes in person, but also online from speakers of Berlinale, Edinburgh International Film Festival, also in other countries and continents, the Zanzibar International Film Festival, speakers from the Durban International Film Festival in South Africa. You will be visiting, my colleagues have already talked about Glasgow being such a great place for film festivals as a Centre for Contemporary Arts and film events, Moving Image Archive. Our students this year undertook a field visit also to the HipFest, which is the silent film festival in Bowness, which is about an hour from Glasgow. So we all travelled there to watch some silent films. So a really wide range of international speakers and also some very interesting site visits. Then in terms of topics that students, I'm also always astonished by the creativity that students come up with, not only their festival ideas, but also their dissertation topics. As David mentioned as well, we see some topics that students have become really interested in. For example, marginalized identities. So students we have a number of students over the years wanting to look at sort of queer film archives, like how you present and represent queer and LGBT narratives to contemporary audiences, women's archives, women's video archives. We see a lot of sort of feminist approaches to the assessments, the dissertation and assessments in the other courses. And it's really, and also as David said, race has become a topic that students want to engage with as well, thinking about film within narratives of decolonization, diversity, accessibility, equality, and so on as well. So assessment follow to some extent the more traditional essays. For example, in the first semester, you'll do a 5,000 word essay, but then in the second semester with the practices course, you have, as I said, you will be designing a film festival with some additional materials and appendices. So that is a bit more of an alternative form of assessment in the practices course. One of the compulsory courses and modules in the program that students, that I know draw students to the program often is the work placement. And also, which alternatively is either a work placement or a creative practice project. Placements can be from a variety of arts and film organisations in Glasgow and further afield. So we've had placements at the Edinburgh International Film Festival, the Moving Image Archive at Calvin Hall in Glasgow, the Glasgow Short Film Festival, the African Motion Film Festival, also the HipFest Silent Film Festival. If you don't do a placement, you'll do a creative practice project for which you can, which you will have a budget to spend on that. And again, I've seen some fantastic creative projects over the years that students have put on. Most recently, a group of students for their creative practice project organized a mini film festival based around representations of witches, a fantastic series of feature films and short films that looked at representations of witches and its links with feminism in different cultural contexts. So in terms of just finally what you could do to prepare, as I said, as our students come from such a variety of different backgrounds, one of the things that I would suggest is that you read a bit about film curation and think about also where you come from, whether it's film studies or another arts discipline, and think about how your current interests and your previous experiences could link to film curation, in what kind of films you would want to curate, and how your interests align with presenting what you find interesting to audiences. I won't say too much about further support, because my colleagues have already talked about that, about academic writing support and so on. We also have often one-on-one tutorials with our students to check up on everyone and make sure everyone is on track. So there is a lot of support from us and also wider field within the university. So there's a few highlights of the film curation program. I'm now going to go back to the whole panel, and then hopefully we'll start dealing with some questions. Just checking the comment section. I don't see any questions yet from viewers. So I am then next going to direct some questions to our students, first of all. So I think, unfortunately, we've lost one of our students on the MLit, but fortunately, we do have another student of the MLit. So Yiyan, I'm going to turn to you first. Yiyan is representing the MLit in film and television studies. So I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about your background, like just so that students can get a sense of, where some students might come from to end up on the MLit in film and television studies. So what is it from your previous education experience? Where did you come from? What was your journey to end up and your decision to study the MLit? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'm from China, and I had my undergraduate courses in China, the Southwestern University, and my major was called movie literature at that time in China. And well, the first time that I know the MLit course in Glasgow is, I think the course setting for the MLit Film and TV Studies is quite attractive, and I think there are so many interesting topics that are included in this course. So that's the reason why that I came to Glasgow, yes, and I joined this course. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ian. If you don't mind, just as a follow-up question, I just want to ask how you have found also the transition to Glasgow and moving to Glasgow. And do you have any sort of tips, perhaps, to our listeners about that move, which, of course, as a foreign student could be, it could be quite a big move for students? Okay,
sure. Well, I love this city. I love Glasgow very much. I think it's a very peaceful city. It might not like those metropolis that you found before, but I'm sure that you will enjoy Glasgow, because Glasgow is so active. You can find so many interesting places here. It's a very good place for you to hang out with your friend, or just stay by yourself, like reading a book, or just go have a walk in the park. And I want to recommend the place is that the Glasgow Film Theatre for all students who are interested in film. It's a very beautiful place, and I'm sure that you will have a wonderful viewing experience in there. And for the international students, I hope that you may find a safety place, a comfortable place, like accommodation before you go to go. It's a very good thing to make this kind of preparation. Thanks.
Great, thank you very much for that, Yiyan. Then I want to ask Jianjun, who is representing the MSc in Filmmaking and Media Arts. So I want to ask you a similar question that I asked Yiyan, just to tell us a little bit about perhaps why you wanted to, in terms of your background, why you wanted to do the MSc in Filmmaking. What is it that attracted you to the program? And then also whether what you've learned on the program so far, tell us a little bit about what you've learned and perhaps what you have found is particularly stimulating and surprising about being on the course. Just also for our listeners, in terms of the timeline, we are now at the end of the 2 teaching semesters, and the students have just the dissertation phase. So the students have completed at this stage the taught programs, and so having completed the taught parts of the program, Jianjun, and now moving into your dissertation project, where do you feel you are now in terms of the skills that you've gained through the program?
Okay, thank you. I'm also from China, and my major used to be communications. So I didn't really study filmmaking before, but this program is everything I was looking for, because I enjoy watching films and I have these feelings and images inside of my head that I don't know how to express it and communicate it to others, and making other people understand what I was thinking. So I am looking for ways to do that, and this program actually give us chances to develop our own concept and make it into a film or media art that's allowing us to communicate with the audience. And you will get sufficient support from your lecturer, from both in practice and theoretical studies. So you don't have to worry about you don't have much experience. And I think this program and this journey give us the chance to create something that interests you and express your inner thoughts, your creativity. And by doing the practice, the research, and the critical reflection together, you kind of go on a journey of discovering yourself and what drives you into doing this. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for so eloquently expressing what the program has meant for you in terms of giving you this opportunity to express your creative as a creative outlet as well. So thank you very much, Jianjun.
Thank you.
I want to next turn to Kyrene, who is here on behalf of the MSc in Film Curation. So Kyrene, when I gave an overview of the program, I started off by talking a bit about what film curation is, because I'm aware that it's not a concept that's as familiar perhaps as other aspects of film studies. So I wanted to ask you whether you had a kind of strong sense of what it entailed, and whether you were kind of challenged or surprised by what you came to learn. So what did you come to this program with in terms of what you thought film curation is and what you would get out of it? And then also just to tell us, what you feel you got out of the program so
Yeah, so I didn't really have, I knew kind of generally what film curation was, so putting on films for the public, but I certainly didn't realise everything that's kind of needed to put a film on, so kind of all the logistical things. I think Lizelle was touching on it earlier, about like funding, how to budget, how to get licensing agreements, all of that. So that's been really helpful to learn all the kind of logistical side of actually putting films on and how to make events. And marketing as well is another thing. So that's been really good for me, because that was definitely a kind of area that I was lacking in my knowledge. And as well, yeah, what else have I kind of learned from it? It's just been really useful in how to understand audiences as well, and what audiences kind of want, because you want people to show up to your film event, obviously. So it's been really helpful in kind of teaching that. So yeah.
And could you also, just as a follow-up question, Kyrene, do you have any idea of what you want to do afterwards? And do you feel at this stage in the degree that this degree could propel you into a career that is something that you would want to do? Do you see yourself as a film curator, or as applying an aspect of what you've learned to the course in a future career when you finish the degree?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm quite interested in maybe working in archiving or like a curator at an archive. And Lizelle mentioned that we did a work placement. I got to do mine at the Moving Image Archive, which is part of the National Library of Scotland. So that's like a thing that I've now got on my CV. And also I got to meet industry people out of that, and I've had more opportunities since then because of it. So yeah, it's definitely really helped me, and kind of networking and meeting people from the industry And I've got good things to put on my CV now that I can definitely go and apply for future jobs after. So yeah.
Great, thank you. Thanks very much. So next I want to, I don't think we have any questions yet, so I'm going to just continue asking some questions to the panel. So I want to ask David, if you could, I've touched upon that. I tried to touch upon that in my spiel on the film curation program about what students could do afterwards. Could you tell us a bit about what, the MLIT is a more traditional, academic or more conventional, research-based degree. But what have you found from previous years? What do students go on to do in terms of how they apply this degree in the future careers?
Great, thanks, Lizelle. So we kind of isolate 4 areas that people go on to. So the MLIT is designed specific, and it's a bit different to the filmmaking and the film curation. So it's the more academic side of study, I suppose. So what we think we're trying to teach people is very advanced level research skills. So the first place, the most obvious place that you might go on to from that would be the traditional route towards a PhD or some other form of academic career. But it can also lead you to other directions which are not within universities, but doing similar things such as film journalism or film criticism. So that's the first one. And it's perhaps the most usual route for students coming into this one is that they see it as they want to learn a bit more about film at a higher level to maybe kick on and do something else like a PhD, for example. As well as that, there are sort of 3 other broad areas. Firstly, management roles in arts organizations, if you like. But in the past, we used to have more people who did that. But now we have the MSc in film curation. It might be that those people go and take that more honed vocational course, and we would understand why you would do that. The third area would be film education. So you might go on, for example, to work in a cinema tech as a film education officer. And then the fourth one would be sort of media specific roles within arts organizations, for example, media law, and you might be advising any kind of company on their sort of their sort of media outreach, as it were. So there's a range of things you can do, but at its core, this course is a bit more traditional and leads towards scholarly research. But that's why it's so great to be sitting alongside film curation and filmmaking, because if those are the things that enthuse you, you have those master's programs to choose from.
Thank you. Thank you very much, David. I just want to, before I move to a question that we have from a viewer, I just wanted to ask Azadeh a sort of linked question to what I just asked David, but perhaps more specific. Could you tell us just about a particularly successful, as a kind of success story of a student, because you've been involved in the program from its early days and you've run it for a number of years. So is there a particular alumnus from the program that would stand out to you that you could tell us that went on and really, what they've learned in the course went on to apply that in a successful way in a career?
Sure. Thank you very much, Lisa, for that question. Yes, we have a students, particularly one of them particularly who won a couple of awards for her film, a short film, animated film. She also has been working in various roles, both as educator as well as editor, film editor. We also have another students who left the program with a very, very successful short film. And the outcome was that a year later, she managed to apply for a funding that now permits her to make her own feature film and allows her to invest 3 years on developing this comprehensive film. Our students do work in various areas related to creative industry and filmmaking, but particularly digital areas, filmmaking industry, but mostly related to artist moving image and also education. But I should also mention that because of the practice as research method that is embedded into this program, The program is there for those who really want to move to a research area and using practice as a research. The program is developed in such a way that gives them the skill to move to do PhDs in the field of creativity and using creative-based research methods.
Thank you. Thanks very much for that, Azadeh. So I have a question from a viewer. I'll just read it out. It asks, have film study students seen writing they produced in the course published in Screen? So Screen is the journal housed within the film and television studies. Is there support for those interested in getting published down the line in Screen or a similar publication? So David, I'm going to turn to you. I've got a couple of notes on that, but if you would not mind taking this question.
Hi, that's a really great question, Colette. Thank you. I would say that if you wanted to publish, whether it's in Screen or another journal, and you approached a lecturer who was interested in that topic, I think they'd help you try and get your article ready. However, I would say that in reality, it's probably unlikely for a master's student to get an article published in such a high-level journal, simply because the level of development of the thinking, the originality of the findings and its importance for the field may not yet have developed sufficiently. What I would say then is, there's various ways you can get published, including publishing your own work on the internet and that kind of idea, or you can try and get into journals. It's true, and I'm sure a scholar would help you. But what we tend to focus our energies on more is often what people might want to get published in Screen for. And often people are interested in taking the next step beyond the master's to the PhD. And it's more like at the PhD level where you might be trying to get published in those journals because you've got some broad findings over 3 to 4 years, which you can then show will be really influential for the field. And it's at that point, at the end of your master's, where you're thinking about a PhD, that's where we tend to support much more on applying for PhDs, because that is as much work as writing an article, I can assure you. And we would really recommend usually that you do the master's first, because in the dissertation, 15,000 words over the summer, you learn a huge amount. You learn about what it takes to do that kind of study and what your intellectual project might be. And once you know that, then applying for the PhD is much, much easier. And it's at that stage that the scholars will help you, because they'll say, right, well, you need to do the application like this, and you need a supporting statement that works like this. So if you can, if you're doing a project that's great for one of the scholars at the University of Glasgow, they would help you. But maybe, the expert you need is somewhere else, I don't know, it could be anywhere, couldn't they? And then we could say, oh, well, this is the person you should really be talking to. So that's where we would put the focus support more than getting you into a journal, unless it's true you had this brilliant piece, and yes, and I'm sure someone would help you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks very much, David. So we don't have any other questions at the moment, so I'm just going to again fire some questions to our student representatives that I think some listeners might be interested in hearing some answers to. So I wanted to ask Yiyan, if you could tell us a little bit about how you've experienced the postgraduate community at Glasgow. So not only within the course, of course, you've got your program, and then we've got the 3 programs, and we do try to bring the students across the 3 postgraduate programs together, but also the broader sort of postgraduate and student community in Glasgow. What has been your experience?
Well, thank you. So first of all, I want to talk about the course setting. And I think that, this course, Emily, Film and TV Studies, can provide students very rich information for your study. Not only help you with your academic writing, but also it can motivate your independent studying too. And for the postgraduate student community, sorry, I don't know much about this, but the only thing that I know is that you can find all that you want to find, those various kind of information for your study or for your life, for your whole stay in the Glasgow, from the University of Glasgow and from the course. Yes, thank you.
Has there been, Jan, if you don't mind me just asking a follow-up question, has there been any specific support that you've accessed at the University of Glasgow out with, the course-specific, the sports course or program-specific support that you've mentioned? Have you attempted to access any other support or become part of any other association or club or anything at Glasgow University?
Oh, well, like for me, I'm an international student, and I know that there are some organizations, or I should say there are some blogs for international students to help their academic writing in English. And I know that there is a international PGT dissertation writing class will be held in the next week. So I'm pretty sure that I will join that one because it helps me to develop my dissertation writing skills, and it can help me maybe like fix my English writing styles, things like that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks very much, Ian, for your answer and also those examples. I want to ask the same question to Jianjun, also as an international student. I wanted to ask how you have found the support at Glasgow University and whether there was a specific support that you've drawn on. If you can, just give our listeners an example of the kind of support that they could expect to get at the university.
Hi, thank you for the question. And well, I know pretty much as same as Ian mentioned. So I know there is many academic writing classes that students can attend and improve their writing skills.
Okay. Have you have participated in some of these classes? Have you?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's good also for our international students who might be listening to be aware that we do put in place a lot of writing support and other support, and also more widely that there is a lot of learning support that you can access if you come here as an international student and perhaps a bit unsure about your English language proficiency and so on as well. So then, Kyrene. Have you been part of the wider sort of postgraduate community at Glasgow?
So I've been to. You'll get lots of emails when you join about kind of postgraduate events and stuff. So there's always like kind of seminars happening, not necessarily about film. It can be about any subject or any like school. So I've been there's been like a couple of gender studies ones that I've been to because I'm kind of interested in gender studies within film. So yeah, there's definitely ways. There's always seminars and talks and like ways to meet people from other postgraduate courses. So yeah, I would definitely attend some of the seminars because they're really good and it's a good way to meet people.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Kyrene. Yeah, that's a really important point. Is to just also highlight, the range of sort of intellectual and academic activities going on around university and the College of Arts, and it's a really good tip to encourage students to engage with academic learning more broadly than just program specific. David, do you want to add something here?
Yeah, just to add to that. Now, when Colette asked that great question about screen, it didn't come into mind, but there is a journal, I believe it's called eSharp, which is run, I think, by postgraduate students. So there's an opportunity there to try and get your work published in an online open access journal. And also, I think there's opportunities to work on how you edit in an online journal. So there's quite a lot you could do with that. And in terms of those intellectual events and so on that go on, I mentioned the screen seminars, but I think as a postgraduate, you're welcome to go to all the different talks in the different areas. And in the school we're in, it's film and TV, also theatre studies, history of art, Centre for Cultural Policy, music, and then nearby, in the college, we've got English literature and all kinds of different areas of study. But there's also very big university-wide lectures that come, I think, once a year. And my memory is, now someone correct me if I've got this wrong, but didn't we have someone like, was it Judith Butler or someone like that just a few years ago? It may not have been, but that kind of high-profile figure comes for the whole university as well. So there's quite a lot going on beyond just sort of film and TV studies that you're allowed to attend and enjoy.
Thank you. Thanks for that, David. So we've got a few minutes left. So I have a final question that I want to ask our three student representatives. Unless I just want to ask David and Azadeh, is there any sort of burning issue or topic that you felt you wanted to still mention before we close the session? Then I'll turn to you first. Yes, Azadeh.
I would like just to encourage everyone who's interested in joining us in filmmaking and media arts program to check out our web page, which includes testimonial of previous year students and examples of their work, and read about basically what the students think about the program. And the site also provides extracts of their films, their final films. I think always it's best to hear from students about their experiences. Thank you.
Indeed. Thank you very much for that, Azadeh. So the final question then that I want to ask the students, I think, David, are you waving your hand? Yes,
yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, I can confirm, because I've just looked it up on the internet. Yes, Judith Butler was here 2018. So that's the kind of speaker we get once a year.
Thank you. Thanks, David. So the question I want to ask finally to our three students is just if you have one piece of advice that you could give to an incoming student, something perhaps you wish you knew before you came, just the best piece of advice that you can think of right now that you would give any of our prospective students, what would that be? So Yiyan, I'm going to ask you to go first again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I think that before you go to Glasgow, well, during the preparation process, the first thing is that read more books, read as much as you can, and try to find those topics. When you get the account from Moodle, try to get familiar with this kind of platform, because it's a very useful tool to make your life easier and more convenient in Glasgow and during your studying process. And yes, try to make more new friends during the studying process in Glasgow, and I wish you all enjoy this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Yiyan. So Yiyan was referring there to Moodle, which is our virtual learning environment. So that is, and that we've increasingly been using for during the COVID years when we were teaching online. So these are really like very rich kind of educational platforms that you will use in addition, like as in support of your courses. So thanks very much for that, Yiyan. Then next, Jianjun, what would your answer be to my question? Just unmute yourself, please.
Sorry. I think my answer is same to Azadeh's. I think it's better that students who are interested in our program, they should check out what previous students experience and what they think about our program, and is it really what they want? Is it suitable for their own plans for their future? And yeah,
okay,
that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. That's really useful to information and for advice to students. So thanks very much for that. Then finally, Kyrene.
Yeah, so kind of similar answer. So yeah, I would practice like kind of getting into like academic reading. I hadn't done it in a while, so it was a bit like rusty when I first started the course. Watch loads of films as well, just like loads of films, loads of things that you maybe think you wouldn't have been interested before. And as well, try and go to like a lot of cultural events and if you're able to beforehand, just to see kind of what's been put out there, especially if you're going to do the film curation course. And another thing, I think a kind of practical thing, I would try and visit the campus before you go. It's massive. I'm from Glasgow and I still kind of struggled like getting my way around it. So yeah, those are my tips.
Right, thank you so much. So across the three of you, you gave us a really nice list of things that incoming students can look out for. So that's been really, really useful. Thank you so much. I want to thank our student representatives in particular for giving up your time today to be here and to answer questions. We really appreciate it a lot. Thanks to David and Azadeh as well for joining me, and our marketing team behind the scenes that set us up. And thank you for joining us. And we do hope to see some of you joining us in September. Bye, everyone.